God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment did not arrive randomly." There are certain hours in a person's life when heaven grows unusually quiet, not because nothing is happening, but because something delicate is unfolding behind the veil. This is one of those hours. Your spirit was guided here gently, without force, without noise, because the message meant for you carries depth, not fear, and clarity, not confusion. Before anything else is said, allow your heart to slow down and your thoughts to settle, because what follows is not meant for the ears alone, but for the inner space where truth quietly lives. In the unseen realm, Archangel Michael stands in stillness. His presence is not loud today, not surrounded by the imagery of battle or victory. Instead, there is a seriousness in his posture, a weight that comes from awareness rather than alarm. He is deeply attentive, not disturbed by chaos, but moved by concern for alignment. Heaven has been watching the path you have been walking, the decisions you have been carrying silently, and the questions you have not spoken out loud. And now, there is a pause in heaven, not to stop you, but to gently redirect your attention inward. This message is not hidden because it is dangerous. It has been hidden because it requires readiness. Some truths are not revealed until the heart is strong enough to receive them without fear and wise enough to use them with grace. You have reached such a point. The seasons you passed through, confusing, quiet, emotionally heavy, were not wasted chapters. They softened you. They trained your discernment. They prepared your spirit to recognize what is true when it finally appears without disguise. Archangel Michael is not asking you to rush. He is asking you to notice. Notice the patterns repeating in your life. Notice the subtle nudges you have felt lately, the thoughts that returned, the memories that resurfaced, the feeling that something unfinished is gently asking for attention. These are not distractions. They are signals of alignment. Heaven does not interrupt loudly, it aligns quietly. And alignment often feels like stillness before understanding. There is an important truth connected to your direction, not your past. It does not expose, accuse, or embarrass. It clarifies. This truth has been waiting because it changes how you see yourself, and once that changes, everything connected to you begins to rearrange naturally. That is why Archangel Michael is attentive now, not because something bad is near, but because something meaningful is ready to be understood at the right depth. You may have felt recently that people misunderstand you, or that your intentions are not always seen clearly. This is not because you are unclear, it is because you are transitioning. When inner growth happens, the outer world often lags behind in recognition. Heaven sees the shift even when people don't. And today, this message exists to remind you that clarity always arrives before confirmation. Understanding comes first. Recognition follows later. Take a quiet breath here. Let your mind stay present. There is no need to search for signs aggressively or overthink every detail. The message meant for you unfolds naturally when the heart is calm. Archangel Michael remains near, not to push you forward, but to ensure you don't overlook what is already being revealed. Gently within you. This moment is not dramatic. It is meaningful. And meaning, once understood, changes everything without force. There is a reason this message continues to unfold slowly rather than all at once. Some truths are not meant to arrive like lightning, they are meant to rise like dawn. Archangel Michael remains still, not because heaven is uncertain, but because this moment requires understanding more than reaction. What is being revealed to you now is not about an external event, but about an internal alignment that has quietly been forming over time. You have lived through seasons where nothing seemed to move, where answers felt delayed, and where silence felt heavier than noise. Yet within those seasons, something essential was happening. Your awareness was deepening. Your discernment was sharpening. Heaven was teaching you how to listen beyond words, how to feel truth without needing proof. That is why this message does not shock you, it resonates. Resonance is the sign of readiness. Archangel Michael's disturbance does not come from fear, but from urgency of understanding. When a soul reaches a certain threshold of awareness, clarity must arrive before confusion has a chance to return. You are standing at such a threshold now. Choices ahead will matter not because they are dramatic, but because they are subtle. Small decisions will carry long echoes. Quiet realizations will redirect entire paths. Notice how your perception has changed recently. Things that once mattered deeply may no longer pull at you the same way. Situations that once drained you now feel distant. This is not detachment, it is refinement. Heaven refines before it reveals. The distractions fall away so the essential can stand clearly in front of you without competition. There are connections in your life that are being gently evaluated, not judged, but weighed. Some will feel lighter. Others will feel heavier. This is not about loss, it is about alignment. What no longer aligns will naturally loosen its grip. What truly belongs will remain without effort. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of this process, ensuring that separation, if it occurs, happens with peace rather than pain. This message is hidden only to those who rush. To those who sit with it, breathe with it, and allow it to settle, everything becomes clear. You are not being asked to change who you are. You are being invited to stop carrying what was never yours to begin with. Expectations, guilt, old narratives, outdated roles. These are being released not through force, but through understanding. Pay attention to how calm this realization feels. True divine guidance never brings chaos. It brings quiet confidence. Even when it leads to change, it does so gently, like a hand guiding rather than pushing. That is the signature of heaven. That is why Archangel Michael remains present but unalarmed. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You may soon notice that your inner voice feels clearer than it has in a long time. Doubt will not vanish completely, but it will lose authority. Fear will still speak occasionally, but it will no longer lead. Clarity will take its place. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady and trustworthy. This continuation exists to remind you of one simple truth: nothing is missing. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where. Awareness catches up with destiny. And when that happens, life stops feeling like resistance and starts feeling like flow. Remain here in this stillness. Let understanding complete its work. What unfolds next will feel natural, because it is aligned. What is unfolding now is quieter than expectation, yet far more powerful than anything that arrives with noise. Archangel Michael does not rush this moment, because your soul is learning how to recognize truth without being startled by it. There are revelations that arrive like thunder, and there are revelations that arrive like breath. This one arrives like breath, because it is meant to stay with you, not shake you and leave. You have already sensed that something inside you has shifted. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily. The questions you once asked with urgency now feel less demanding. The answers you once chased now seem to approach you on their own. This is the sign of inner alignment. When the soul aligns, life no longer needs to shout to get your attention. Archangel Michael's presence at this stage is not about protection from danger, but protection of clarity. When clarity arrives, it must be guarded from old habits of doubt. You are not the same person who first began this journey. Your understanding has matured. Your patience has deepened. Your intuition has become quieter but stronger. This is why this message continues instead of restarting. Because nothing needs to be reintroduced. You already know more than you realize. There are layers within you that are being gently uncovered now. Not wounds, but wisdom gained from having lived through confusion without becoming bitter. You learned how to keep your heart open even when answers were delayed. You learned how to trust silence instead of fearing it. These lessons were not accidental. They were preparation for this exact season, where discernment matters more than reaction. Some people in your life may begin to feel different to you. Not wrong, not bad, simply different. Conversations may feel shorter. Energies may feel mismatched. This does not mean separation must be dramatic. Often, alignment simply means less effort is required to understand where you stand. Heaven does not force exits. It reveals truth, and truth does the rest naturally. You are being invited into a deeper form of peace, not the peace that comes from everything going right, but the peace that comes from knowing you will be steady even when things are still forming. Archangel Michael stands witness to this steadiness. He recognizes it as readiness. When a soul becomes steady, guidance becomes subtle. That is why this message feels calm instead of urgent. Notice how you are reading these words. Not searching, not grasping, simply receiving. This is important. Receiving is the final stage after waiting. You are no longer asking, when will something happen? You are beginning to sense, something is already happening. That awareness changes everything. Heaven does not reveal what you are not ready to carry. What comes next in your life will not overwhelm you, because your inner structure has already been strengthened. You may not know the details yet, but you know yourself more clearly now. That is greater preparation than any external sign. Archangel Michael remains close, not to interfere, but to observe. Observation is acknowledgement. It means heaven sees that you are no longer moved by every wave. You have learned how to stay centered even when circumstances are uncertain. This is not emotional distance, this is emotional mastery. There is no rush from here. What is meant to unfold will unfold with precision, not pressure. The hidden message was never about an event outside of you. It was about the realization within you. You are no longer waiting for permission to trust your own clarity. That permission has already been granted. Let this understanding settle fully. Stillness is not emptiness, it is completion in progress. What you are experiencing now is not the end of a message, but the quiet sealing of it. Some truths are not meant to arrive loudly, because loud truths can be mistaken for emotion. This one arrives softly, because it is meant to stay with you long after these words fade. Archangel Michael does not step forward here to announce something new, but to confirm what has already begun to take root inside your spirit. You may notice that your thoughts feel slower, calmer, more deliberate. This is not confusion. This is integration. When the soul receives something real, it does not rush to react. It allows meaning to settle, to connect with memory, experience, and intuition. What you are feeling now is the merging of understanding and trust, something that only happens when the heart is no longer fighting the unknown. There was a time when you searched for signs everywhere, hoping for reassurance, hoping for direction, hoping for certainty. That phase was necessary, but it is no longer where you stand. You are learning that guidance does not always come as answers, sometimes it comes as inner stability. When stability arrives, life begins to unfold more naturally, without force, without pressure, without fear. Archangel Michael remains present not as a guard, but as a witness. A witness to the way you have changed without realizing it. You no longer need everything explained. You no longer feel the urge to control outcomes. You have reached a place where you are willing to walk forward without seeing the entire path, because you trust the ground beneath your feet. That trust is not weakness. It is spiritual maturity. There are things aligning quietly around you. Not dramatically, not instantly, but precisely. Conversations that once felt heavy may now feel unnecessary. Choices that once felt complicated now feel obvious. This is clarity revealing itself through simplicity. Heaven does not complicate what the soul is ready to understand. You are also learning how to listen differently. Not just to words, but to pauses. Not just to people, but to energy. Not just to events, but to timing. This sensitivity is not meant to make you anxious, it is meant to help you move gently through life without resistance. When resistance fades, progress becomes natural. Archangel Michael does not ask you to change anything right now. There is nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to chase. The work has already been done internally. What remains is patience with unfolding. Some blessings arrive like storms, others arrive like seasons. This one is a season, and seasons cannot be rushed. You may feel moments of deep reflection in the coming days, moments where you look back and realize how much you survived quietly. Not with applause, not with recognition, but with endurance. Those moments were not invisible. They shaped the strength you now carry effortlessly. That strength is why this message could reach you calmly instead of urgently. Understand this clearly, nothing important in your life is slipping away. What belongs to you is moving toward you at the correct pace, not the fastest one. Speed impresses the mind, timing satisfies the soul. Heaven always works with timing. As this message completes its flow, Archangel Michael steps back not because his presence